Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico bringing y'all a Redskins report. I want to come out with one of these at least once a week just to summarize everything that's happened in Redskins Nation within the past week. I'm going to try to come out with them on Tuesdays every week, so that's probably going to become part of my schedule. Of course, I'm also still working on the Air Coryell offense second half video. But today I want to talk about a few things. Like, are Redskins really headed to a Super Bowl in the next 2-3 years? What are some big time stats that the Redskins need to improve in 2020, this coming season? There's also some interesting Redskins cap numbers. An injury to a player that I had high hopes for. Sad to see him hurt. And of course, man, RIP Joe Bugle, man. People outside of Redskins Nation do not acknowledge how great of a mind he was and how great of a coach he was. And he definitely deserves more credit. So I definitely had to shout out Joe before we got to anything else. And y'all already know, with every video now, we have to huddle up before we get to this intro. Before we get to the content that y'all came for, I want to let y'all know to go buy the best Redskins merch money can buy. Just hit the link in the description of this video under Go Get Street Scores merch. Also, if you want to become a monthly paid member of the best sports YouTube channel out here doing it, there's 4 different levels, each with their own great perks, such as a private Redskins and football Discord group, shoutouts in every video and live stream, monthly merchandise raffles, exclusive badges next to your name in the chats, exclusive gifts that you can use, and much more. Just hit the link in the description of this video under Become a Channel Member. Also, pull up to Rant with Rico to call in and let your opinions and questions be heard every Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. The phone number and the link are in the description. Just call in and you say whatever you want to say. Voice your opinion or ask me whatever questions you have. And then also join my live podcast through YouTube with me and my boy Shay called Broadcast, and we talk about everything, all sports, culture, music, life, anime, gaming, and much more. And that's every Friday 8 to 10 p.m. And then of course, definitely pull up, y'all already know, to the Street Scores full access live stream where I reply to every comment, and that's every Sunday 2 to 4 p.m. And that 4 is very loose because we typically go over that, but I shoot for 4 if I can. In all of which I place the links in the description. Now, let's get it. Alright, first of all, I love this new camera because now I can wear things other than all white in my videos. I'm not sure if y'all have noticed, but if I'm doing a video in this format, I'm usually wearing all white because my old camera wouldn't let me wear anything but all white while I was recording. So, shouts out to everybody that supported the channel, buying merch, becoming a channel member, and donating because y'all made this camera possible. So for real, big shouts out to y'all, because now whenever I wear any colors but all white, I don't have just a big red hue all over me. So again, shouts out to the Street Scores family for that, man. But what I want to talk about first is that one NFL analyst, Bucky Brooks, believes that Chase Young could lead the Redskins to a Super Bowl. And not like eventually, like, 8-10 years down the road. He's saying like within the next 2 or 3. And he also said not just take us, but actually win us one specifically. And he alluded to how the 49ers, after they got Nick Bosa, went from one of the worst teams in the NFL to being in the Super Bowl, even though they didn't win. They ran into Pat Mahomes, but Nick Bosa definitely played his part. And he played a big role in them having such a huge turnaround from 2 years ago to last year. And he also alluded to how much of an impact Julius Peppers had. And several NFL analysts have talked about how Chase Young should automatically demand offensive coordinators to have specific protections just for Chase Young. Just because if he's able to have that Julius Peppers impact, they're going to have at least 2 bodies on Chase Young every play, which will give everybody else one-on-one matchups. Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne, Matt Ioannidis, Tim Settle, Ryan Kerrigan when he's brought into the rotation. All of those guys are going to be able to have one-on-ones often, if not all of the time, which means they should win up front consistently. And running the ball and passing the ball should be almost impossible against us. So of course we need to figure out the offensive side of the team, but defensively, With Chase Young on our team, there's a lot of people out there thinking that the Redskins can have a very similar turnaround to the turnaround that the 49ers had last year. Rivera also went on to mention that Chase Young has Julius Peppers' level of talent, but also has a Von Miller level of work ethic. So that's a deadly combination. Not only is he extremely talented, once in a generation type of talent, but then he's also working like he's one of the guys that is on the edge of making the roster, like one of the undrafted free agents. Like he's putting in that much work, especially this offseason. I mean, he's even picked up boxing recently, just to work on his hands even more. I mean, he's doing anything that he can to make him a better player and sooner. So, no pressure, Chase Young, but, people are saying that because of you might better make it / win a Super Bowl within 2-3 years, you know what I'm saying? No pressure though, you feel me? Moving on, there's some important stats that the Redskins need to drastically improve in, especially going into the 2020 season and beyond. NBC Sports Washington pointed out, first of all, that third down defense is very important for us, but that should be vastly improved just with Chase Young alone. Also, with Jack Del Rio being the defensive coordinator, us switching to a 4-3, our coverages and assignments being more simple. There's going to be more players dedicated to coverage because our front four is going to primarily be the ones that go get the quarterback. There's going to be rare blitzing, so our coverage should be improved and our pass rush should be just about the same, if not better, just because of guys like Chase Young. So that should help. Also, performances in divisional games. That should just come with a better offense, better defense, far better coaching. Ron Rivera and his culture that's brought over, the better talent that we have, Dwayne Haskins improving, the wide receiver core improving, the defense being much better, and also red zone touchdown percentage. That's big. We usually kick field goals once we get to the red zone. So now, especially with guys like Kelvin Harmon improving, us bringing in Antonio Gandy Golden, Dwayne Haskins getting more comfortable, us bringing in dual threat tight ends like Logan Thomas and Thaddeus Moss, we're going to see what Hell Hinges has, and if Jeremy Sprinkle can improve. After actually having an off season of working towards being a receiving tight end, you never know. So we should have some dual threat tight ends out there also. And all of those factors should improve our red zone touchdown percentage. We should finally have some big guys in the end zone bodying little guys consistently. And Peter Haley of NBC Sports Washington pointed out that those are 3 areas that we need to improve in a lot. But the one that he pinpoints that we need to improve in the most is how often our offense is leading game and how often we're trailing. Last season, we were dead last in snaps ran while leading. And only 2 teams were worse than us and had more snaps on offense while being behind. So I guess that says that we just had a whole bunch of snaps where we were just tied with the team we were going against. But still, we had the least amount of snaps in the NFL while leading on offense. So we definitely need to improve that. We need to play from ahead and not play from behind so much. And with our vastly improved defense, with our improved offense, with our special teams only getting better, with Tress Way being the GOAT, I could definitely see us playing from ahead instead of playing from behind more. Moving on. Also speaking to NBC Sports, JP Finlay from there said that he feels like Kelvin Harmon will start over Antonio Gandy Golden at the outside receiver job opposite of Terry McLaurin, especially to start the season, which makes a lot of sense because Kelvin Harmon is going into his 2nd year. Antonio Gandy Golden just got drafted. Also, Kelvin Harmon has been working with Dwayne Haskins longer than any of these other receivers you've seen working with Dwayne Haskins. He's been with Dwayne Haskins since February, almost nonstop. Terry McLaurin joined in like a month or 2 after that. Steven Sims joined in like a month or 2 after that. And I don't even think AGG has met up with Dwayne Haskins to work out yet, at least that I know of. But I know for a fact Kelvin Harmon has been putting in endless hours, snaps, routes, all of that with Dwayne Haskins since February, before coronavirus was even a thing, at least widely known as a thing, and before we started doing quarantine and all of those things. And also, speaking of coronavirus, Antonio Gandy Golden's going to have less time to work with Dwayne Haskins, because by now it would have already been like rookie minicamp, I believe, maybe mini camps by now. That's time that Kelvin Harmon had last season to work with Dwayne Haskins that Antonio Gandy Golden won't have in 2020. Now Antonio Gandy Golden hopefully will have training camp to work with Dwayne Haskins, but it's not the same because that's when everybody's out there from the vet of the vets like Terry McLaurin and the guys that are sure things to make it. And then you also have the undrafted free agent guys that are just hoping to make the team. So it's the guys at the top and the guys at the bottom, and Antonio Gandy Golden is somewhere in the middle. Whereas rookie minicamp, it would be a lot more time, and Dwayne Haskins could contribute a larger percentage of his attention and his throws and practice reps towards Antonio Gandy Golden then. So I can definitely see Kelvin Harmon having a leg up over Antonio Gandy Golden to start the season. Antonio Gandy Golden may beat him out eventually, especially with his high potential, him being even taller, may even be same speed, maybe even faster, even though he's bigger. So his potential is enormous, but I can definitely see Kelvin Harmon starting week 1. Even though Antonio Gandy Golden may get some red zone reps early on, just because he's 6'4". He may be Dwayne Haskins' favorite target in the red zone, even week 1. We'll see how that evolves. But as far as those first 80 yards go, I can definitely see Kelvin Harmon starting over AGG to begin the season. And it's not anything to really do with Antonio Gandy Golden being worse than Kelvin Harmon. Kelvin Harmon is just more prepared. He has better chemistry with Dwayne Haskins. He's had more time to prepare. He's going into his second year, whereas Antonio Gandy Golden is going into his first. Really kind of his zero, because we haven't even had the normal practices that rookies are normally afforded on a regular basis other than coronavirus happening. Moving on from the wide receivers, tight end wise, JP Finlay from NBC Sports Washington also talked about how the Redskins coaching staff doesn't even know what we're going to do at tight end. I'm inferring that Thaddeus Moss, Logan Thomas, and Hale Hinges or Jeremy Sprinkle will be the 3 guys we roll with. I don't know if they'll keep 4. I doubt it. I feel like they'll go with 3. But it's up in the air right now, and no analyst can truly tell you, because even the Redskins coaches can't tell you. So nobody is sure about exactly which tight ends will not only make the roster, but will have an instant, immediate impact or the largest role. But to break them down, Logan Thomas is the one with the highest potential. He's freakishly athletic. He came out of college as a quarterback. So if you need an emergency quarterback, he's also an option there. For some reason, Dwayne Haskins and Kyle Allen can't go out there. You have Logan Thomas. But that's a break glass in case of emergency. We do not want to do that on purpose. That's mayday situation anyway. But tight end wise, he's durable. He played all 16 games for the Lions last season, and he barely even caught that many passes. His primary role was to be a blocker, which he's good at, so that's great for us. But with his freakish athleticism and the way that he looked against us when we played the Lions last season, he should also be pretty good at receiving, with a lot of room to grow to get even better and become explosive, especially once he works on his route running and all of that type of stuff. Because again, he's new to the position. He came out of college as a quarterback. So he's one of those high potential guys that at the very least is a good blocker. So I can see him having a large role just because of that. He's definitely a developmental project as far as receiving goes. And again, most importantly, he's very durable. Played all 16 games for the Lions last season. And then you have my boy Thaddeus Moss that we just drafted from LSU. I feel like he's going to be somewhat of like a Chris Cooley role where he can be tight end or fullback any given play. So I see him having a large role because of that. But also, he's probably the best blocking tight end on our roster day one, as long as he's healthy. And then he probably has the best hands, because last season he didn't drop a single pass for LSU, not one. If it touched his hands, he caught it. So that's big for third downs and improving that red zone touchdown percentage that I spoke about earlier. So I can see Thaddeus Moss having a large role. And then I feel like that third spot is a fight between Jeremy Sprinkle and Hale Hinges. For Hale Hinges, I liked what I saw from him last season. Those last few games looked like something that we can truly build on. But then don't forget about Jeremy Sprinkle, because at the same time, he's a pretty good blocker. And we get on him about having bad hands, but he's never had an entire offseason to actually work on his hands. Even last year, he was forced into a receiving role. Jordan Reed didn't even make it out of preseason because of that one hit from somebody from the Falcons that I still got to see about. So Jeremy Sprinkle didn't spend his entire training camp and offseason workouts working on his route running and his catching like he should have for the role that he ended up having to play in. But now, knowing that the Redskins need a true dual threat tight end, maybe he'll spend more time not only alone, but with the team working on route running and catching and all of that stuff. So you never know, Jeremy Sprinkle might come out a whole new guy heading into the 2020 season. But we'll see. It's definitely between those 4 guys, honestly. I mean, you have Richard Rodgers, who has a father on the coaching staff, and he's technically the veteran presence out of the tight end group, but he's very injury prone, so I don't see him making it. I can definitely see him, playing a role while we still have a 90-man roster, but once we get to the 53-man roster and move into the regular season, I don't see Richard Rodgers making it. Also, random, Adrian Peterson basically said that he could play for another 4 years, which would be dope to see. I doubt he would do it with us because we're definitely going towards youth as far as running back, as long as everybody can stay healthy. With Antonio Gibson, Darius Geis, Bryce Love, even J.D. McKissick and Peyton Barber. In the more years that pass, the less production we can expect out of an Adrian Peterson. I mean, right now he's just this rare breed that is still going strong even at the age that he is, but I just can't expect to get that out of him the next 4 years, especially not here. With the Redskins going youth in pretty much every position group possible, and Adrian Peterson is here right now because he's very dependable, and we don't know if the younger running backs can stay healthy. But once we are at least fairly sure that the other running backs in our group can stay healthy, they're more than likely going to go far more towards the youth than keeping an Adrian Peterson. But we'll see though. I definitely want Adrian Peterson to beat a lot of those records that are in front of him. So if he can go another 4 years and be highly productive in it, I'm down, man. And as far as Dwayne Haskins goes, Doug Williams basically said what a lot of us already know and what we're already thinking and what we're telling fans of other teams that is true, but a lot of them won't believe it. Doug Williams said that Dwayne Haskins has the best arm talent and potential out of any quarterback that was drafted these past 2 drafts. And I agree. His arm strength and potential are ridiculous. I'm not going to necessarily say they're Pat Mahomes-like, but there's only a handful of quarterbacks in the NFL currently in the world that can throw passes like Dwayne Haskins can. 50-yard bombs, very accurate, wide receiver catching it in stride, and he makes it look effortless. He also throws dots very quickly, so he's one of those quarterbacks that even if he's late on a throw, because he throws it with so much velocity, it gets there quicker, and technically the throw isn't late. He threw it late, later than other quarterbacks would throw it, but he can bail himself out just by putting a quick zip on it. So I love Dwayne Haskins' his arm potential. That's why I'm so excited about him. He's been putting in so much work. Of course, he has to work on the mental side of it. He's already fixed the work ethic side. We think he's fixed the mental, but we'll just have to see in training camp and preseason once we finally actually get to look at him. But so far, what he's done in these practices, he's put out some great clips. And I don't even know who Dwayne Haskins' agent is or whatever's going on, because I don't know how he's plugged in with so many celebrity household name receivers like T.O., and he's been working out with Antonio Brown for 2 years now, Chad Ochocinco, and even beyond them, he's working out with young receivers from other teams like Jerry Jeudy, who just got drafted this year for the Broncos. Highly talented, a lot of potential. Mecole Hardman, my Georgia boy, you already know, man. He put on a show for the Chiefs last year, especially while Tyreek Hill was hurt. I think he even made the Pro Bowl as a returner. And Dwayne Haskins is working out with him. There's no relation there. Ohio State, Georgia, or even Jerry Jeudy. Ohio State, Alabama. I don't exactly know how this is getting put together, but I love it. And I just like the fact that these wide receivers even want to work with Dwayne Haskins, which shows you how much arm talent he has. Because they know that they can work on whatever routes they need to work on and depend on him to deliver the ball exactly how they need it delivered. Even possibly better than the quarterbacks they play for, except for, Mecole Hardman, because he plays for the Chiefs and that's Pat Mahomes. But if you're Mecole Hardman and you're looking for a quarterback with an arm strength and a rocket somewhere in the same stratosphere of Pat Mahomes, Dwayne Haskins is definitely one of your better options in the league. It's only a handful of guys that can do that. But again, I don't even know who's putting this together. The only guy that it truly makes sense that he's been working out with recently is J.K. Dobbins, because he was the running back for Ohio State, but now he's a Raven. So you would think that J.K. Dobbins would be working with Lamar Jackson or something, but I don't know if Lamar Jackson just isn't working out as often as Dwayne Haskins is. I guess Dwayne Haskins is just the hardest working quarterback this offseason, because you see clips of him just working out with anybody, and I guess there are people out there that's like, hey man, if I can just get a quarterback to help me work on my game real quick, I'll do it. And I guess Dwayne Haskins is the most available, probably a mix of that along with what I said earlier with his arm talent that's just only a handful of quarterbacks can do what he can do. So wide receivers, running backs that are trying to work on their receiving game like J.K. Dobbins are able to try things with Dwayne Haskins that they wouldn't be able to try with other quarterbacks. And I just love it because it's giving Dwayne Haskins an opportunity to work with so many different types of guys. I want him to start working with Antonio Gandy Golden more, so we can go ahead and get him started. But I love the fact that he's working with all these guys. But at least Antonio Gandy Golden has been working with Anquan Bolden this offseason. So he's getting some coaching and some leadership and some mentorship from a great example of how to play the wide receiver position, especially being a bigger receiver. And speaking of receiver, sadly, we lost Emmanuel Hall. He tore his Achilles recently while working out. And those Achilles injuries are hard because, like, a lot of people don't come back the same. I mean, he could even be 3 years from now, he may still be affected from tearing his Achilles. I mean, that's a really hard injury to come from. And it's really sad because even before this, he was labeled as injury prone. I can admit it, but he has so much potential. He's almost the size of Antonio Gandy Golden, but runs a 4.5, if not even faster. He has so much potential to be a deadly wide receiver, but it just hasn't worked out. He's been injury prone. He's bounced from team to team, practice squad to practice squad. Again, he has so much potential, and it's sad to see him get hurt again, but I guess we'll have to see next year if he can possibly make the team. I definitely wish you a speedy recovery, Emmanuel Hall, man. I was really hoping for big things out of you, man. And then in very random news, Ryan Anderson said, probably like 2 weeks ago actually, so I'm probably a little late reporting this, but he said that if I can remember my grandkids' names, then I didn't play the game right. And you know, I'm happy about this because on the football side, that sounds great. He's willing to put his body on the line, his health on the line to make plays, and that's going to make him extremely productive. And we've seen from the games that he started when Ryan Kerrigan got hurt that he has infinite potential as a pass rusher. He improved his coverage against tight ends mightily. So he sounds like the perfect Sam linebacker for us right now. But on the other side, bro, just as a human being, I want you to take care of yourself. I don't want you to play to the point that you can't remember your grandkids' names. CTE is a serious thing. And I appreciate the spirit that you have and the drive that you have to do whatever you have to do to get the job done, but take care of yourself, my boy, please. Also, shouts out to the Redskins finally retiring Bobby Mitchell's jersey. Long time overdue, man. Long time overdue. But at the same time, there's several jerseys that need to be retired. I mean, me personally, Darryl Green's one of my top 3 Redskins players of all time. I would like to see that jersey number retired. Not even just because of how great he was, but the fact that he played for us his entire career, beginning to end. He could have went somewhere else and gotten more money, but no, he stayed loyal to the Redskins and he fully embodies the DMV spirit. He got drafted here, he played here his entire career, and he did so extremely well. And I feel like his jersey should be retired. Also, Sean Taylor, come on now, like, nobody's ever going to put on that 21. It's basically like a silent retirement already. Like an unspoken retirement. You might as well just go ahead and honor it, put on a ceremony and everything, and officially retire it. Because nobody's going to put on that 21 jersey. You should already just do it because Sean Taylor was so great and to honor everything about him. But also at the same time, again, nobody's going to wear it. So it's basically retired already. You might as well just go ahead and do the right thing and retire it, because why would anybody put that type of pressure on themselves? Anybody put on 21, even that 36 is a little iffy, but nobody's putting on that 21 because then you're going to be expected to play to a Sean Taylor level. And right now we currently have no DB on our team that can play at a Sean Taylor level. Nobody. I love our DBs. I love Landon Collins. I like Sean Davis's potential. I like a lot of the potential we have in the cornerback group, but nobody's Sean Taylor. So Redskins, I might as well just go ahead and retire that jersey for real. Also in very random news, and this is pretty big, the Redskins have the least cap space tied up in QB1, RB1, and wide receiver 1, with only $7.4 million going to that combination of 3. Dead last. The Broncos are 31st, and they're spending $3 more million than we are, with $10.4 million. And you want to know who's spending the most between their QB1, RB1, and wide receiver 1? The Cowboys. They paid Zeke 2 years ago, they paid Amari Cooper this year, and Dak just got franchise tagged. They're paying their quarterback 1, running back 1, wide receiver 1 a combined $54.3 million, which is almost $9 million more than the guys in second place, the Seahawks, with $45.4 million. So that is wild. So the Redskins have to see this and acknowledge the fact that we have a big window right now where a lot of great talent is getting paid little money because of rookie contracts, and this is the time to go make a run for a Super Bowl. May not be this year, but within the next 2 years, it is time. before you have to go and pay these guys the big time money that I'm expecting them to make, because I'm expecting Dwayne Haskins to be great, I'm expecting Darius Geis to be great, and I'm expecting Terry McLaurin to be great. I'm hoping Darius Geis can stay healthy. But either way, eventually we're going to end up having to pay a lot of these younger guys. I mean, eventually Chase Young's contract is going to come up. We're going to have to pay him big money. So before that comes, before we owe all of these guys this big time money, this is the window to go get things done and pay other players and other position groups to come over here and hire top tier talent there so that we can have a complete team. Dwayne Haskins balling out at quarterback for cheap. Darius Geis balling out at running back for cheap, or Antonio Gibson or Bryce Love. Terry McLaurin, Steven Sims, Kelvin Harmon, Antonio Gandy Golden balling out for cheap. And then we can pay to fill in the other position groups that we need help at, like offensive line, corner, and safety. And now our team is dominant. And we still have cap space left over. While the Cowboys, on the other hand, is win now or never, because they don't have enough money to allocate resources to other position groups. They're already paying $54 million just for one quarterback, one running back, and one wide receiver. So the future is bright, but it's not like we have forever to get this done, or it's going to become increasingly difficult over the years after 3 years passes. And lastly, I just want to talk about something that Kevin Sheehan of the Team 980 spoke about. He was basically talking about how with Jack Del Rio's comments on Twitter and everything, and y'all can already look at me and know how I feel about what he said. I don't even have to dive into what he said, but I can dive into the fact that he shouldn't be on Twitter with Twitter fingers and speaking out like that and saying kiss my A word and stuff like that. Like, you shouldn't be doing that. You're a professional coach, defensive coordinator of an NFL franchise. You shouldn't be doing that. That you just wilding on the internet for no reason. Shows a lot of lack of maturity. Shows a big lack of restraint or whatever, however you want to look at it. Even if you agree with what he said, and of course, look at me, I don't. But even beyond that, if you agree with what he said, you at least have to know that that's not the way to show it. Going on Twitter and saying, kiss my A word. But Kevin Sheehan has a point that normally with the Redskins franchise, if any little thing shows a little bit of turmoil or anything off-putting, the media would just blow it up and it would be everywhere. Talked about on First Take, talked about on Skip and Shannon's show, everywhere. NFL Network, everywhere on ESPN, NFL Live, all of those. But the fact that this isn't being talked about may show a little bit of the Ron Rivera culture change. A lot of people out there probably trust the Redskins to turn things around and be an honest and reputable organization now, probably just because of Ron Rivera's presence. Also, Ron Rivera probably spoke to Jack Del Rio in private and nipped it in the bud. Already handled it, spoke to him, and basically said, this is not how we do things. So this basically shows that we're starting to move from the dysfunctional side of football to the more successful Patriots-like side of football, where the head coach handles things early, nips them in the bud, and it doesn't even have a chance to blow up. And again, even with Ron Rivera nipping it in the bud earlier in-house, the fact that the media didn't blow it up instantly just shows that the media probably trusts us as an organization more. We're not that dysfunctional. It's not a great media story to try to blow up something small that the Redskins did poorly or bad or wrong. So if that doesn't show a culture shift immediately, I don't know what will. Of course, there will be more signs that show that Ron Rivera is here and that we're not dealing with Jay Gruden anymore. But that's a big one. And that's the end of the video, man. I appreciate y'all for pulling up. Please like the video if you liked it, if you learned anything. Please subscribe if you haven't. If you are subscribed, please hit that bell to make sure you get a notification every time I release a video, every time I schedule a live stream, all of that type of stuff. And also, check out my other radio shows. And again, I'm still working on the Air Coryell offense video, the second half. That will come out soon. And I appreciate the support. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.